The chosen sport task is the volleyball spike, but more specifically, just the arm swing stroke process. Throughout this section of the video, the biomechanical principles that underpin this particular movement will be defined and explored in depth. To build upon that, from a video recording of Rebecca, her strengths and weaknesses of the particular skill will be identified using the background knowledge of biomechanics. Constraints will be added to help improve those weaknesses and make the volleyball spike more efficient and powerful. Throughout all this, Rebecca will use her goals for what she hopes to achieve by the end of the training. This will improve her learning experience. To describe the movement, I will be focusing on the arm swing stroke process of a volleyball spike when the human body is in flight. The problem that I have identified in Rebecca's movement is that she is not rotating her trunk when spiking the ball, therefore 9 times out of 10 hitting cross court. A study was conducted mentions that when there is an interruption in the forward trunk rotation just before impact, there was a result in a decrease in the swing velocity of the arm. Rebecca is not rotating her trunk at all, therefore losing a great amount of velocity that could be impacting the ball if the skill was executed correctly. Not only is she losing speed and force in her spike because her body is not rotating correctly, she also ends up in the net at the end of her shot, thus leaving her unbalanced and unprepared for a blocked shot. The arm swing stroke phase can be broken down into 3 sections: backswing, turn swing, and forward swing. In most, focus will be the turn swing, but all components of the spike are crucial to optimal success. Through the backswing phase, this is where Rebecca will begin her movement. This is a leading backswing at the beginning of the takeoff and a pulling back, which is initiated by the pull of the elbow and wrist simultaneously. From Rebecca's movement, you can see that she has clearly pulled back her elbow ready for her spike approach while leading up to the net. This then leads to the turn swing phase, which is the most important for this analysis. The turning of the trunk occurs, which allows for a greater range of motion. From this, the arm will naturally go into an upside down V position prior to the swing phase. It is clear that Rebecca makes an upside down V position with her arm while doing the turn swing phase. This is crucial for the rest of the swing. Lastly, during the swing phase of the arm stroke, the elbow straightens up until the ball is hit by the extended hand, which is slightly in front of the shoulder for the optimal range of motion and forward momentum is struck. The athlete in this movement pattern is using Newton's third law of motion, action and reaction force, as well as the conservation of angular momentum to transfer power to the ball. Mann 2008. Rebecca has evidently put her arm as high as she can when hitting the ball. Her extended hand is almost completely straight except for a slight bend in the elbow. Newton's first law of inertia is simply defined in volleyball. When the ball is set for the spiker, it will travel up and fall down due to the force of gravity. Therefore, the ball will stay in that current state until a force is acted upon it, that being the spiker's hand. Once again, simply put, Newton's second law of acceleration. The faster the arms swing, the greater the force that will be exerted onto the spiked volleyball at the moment of contact. In line with Newton's third law, Rebecca needs to make her waist, abdomen, and lower limbs generate enough force at the same time to make an opposite movement with the upper limbs. The larger the moment of momentum generated under rotation of axis, the larger the opposite momentum generated by the upper limbs to have a successful forceful stroke. The lower body should be creating an anti-radian in the lead up to the spike. At the moment of contact, the body creates a radian, like the picture from before, from the upper limbs and lower limbs rotating around the axis quickly. Thus, the upper limb will generate maximum momentum and therefore achieve a more forceful spike. You can see that Rebecca has demonstrated both of these movements. A volleyball spike is used when creating maximum speed and power through a shot. This relates closely to a third-class lever. The force that is applied, effort, is between the resistance, weight, and the fulcrum pivot point. A third-class lever allows the body to move a short distance, for example, the wrist movement, but the arm, which acts as the end of the lever, moves a much greater distance around the body. Long arms allow for increased angular velocity and the ability for an object to rotate around an axis. The greater the distance between the axis of rotation, that being the elbow joint, and point of contact, the higher rate of velocity Rebecca can achieve. As you can see, Rebecca has achieved an almost perfectly straight arm. Rebecca has many strengths and weaknesses. The weaknesses including a lot of cross-court spiking, therefore there is less down the line spiking, which results in less shot options. This is because there is not enough trunk twist when spiking the ball, and it also leads to an unbalanced landing in the net. Her strengths include generating powerful shots, a great jump height, very high levers, and a great spiking pattern knowledge. Okay, so what do you want to achieve from this?
I want to be able to hit down the line more, as I can only hit cross court.
Yeah, why do you want to hit more down the line?
Because it's a harder ball to defend.
Yep. How can you measure hitting down the line more?
Well, I can count the balls, like depending on how many balls I receive, I can try and hit at least half of them down the line and then half cross court.
In an attempt to correct Rebecca's weaknesses, a constraint will be put in place relative to the skill, breaking the opposite side of the court to have different scoring elements. The court will be split into two different sections. The first and prioritized section is hitting down the line. There are markers set out this section of the court. This is to encourage Rebecca to aim to be awarded 3 points if she can hit within this section. The rest of the court is only worth 1 point, as any shot is still valuable in the game of volleyball, but the main focus is down the line. As an internally focused constraint, there is no explicit instruction on how to hit the ball, instead a targeted and marked out area. From watching the video, it is evident that Rebecca has used the constraint to her advantage by ticking off her goal by hitting at least 5 shots down the line, 4 cross court, and 1 down the middle, which is evidence of her adjusting her shots. Her shots also show more stability by hitting down the line instead of cross court. To progress the constraint, a chair was placed in the ideal area of a defender, which was in the zone worth 3 points. This then gave Rebecca a new target and focus point. As she clearly managed to rotate her shoulders and hit down the line, her goal is now to either spike down in front of the chair or up and over the chair. This constraint is about using the chair to act like a defender, to be aware of surroundings, and self-organize to make decisions on how to hit the ball. So, having the chair down the line, like demonstrated behind you, in a defender's position, what do you think that will do to your hitting?
Well, having a defender there, you obviously don't want to hit it straight to the defender. So you either hit it behind the defender, or you can drop it short or to the side, more inside the court.
Do you think having the defender there helped when you were hitting?
Yeah, I did. It had a bit of, made me think about positioning or placement of the ball, where to actually hit the ball, because you don't want to hit it